Are you ready for the no yelling parenting challenge? I'm here to help you stop feeling like a bad parent for yelling. Parenting is hard and yelling happens. There's a lot of reasons for that I can help you with. Stick around until the end of the video where I'll give you some special tips on how to keep your cool. My first tip for you to help meet this challenge is to recognize the triggers. And to do this, just imagine with me, and maybe it won't be too hard because it happened recently, the last time that you yelled at your kids. Now I'm going to ask you what happened just before that. What we're doing is working backwards to see if we can find where this chain started. And usually you don't just yell out of the clear blue. You're often feeling really angry or frustrated by the time you finally break and yell. Is this true? Well, what happened just before you felt angry? And I already said that, really. Probably frustration. Frustration is a very common trigger to yelling. And it's not that we yell because we're frustrated. We are frustrated for a while, and as that feeling grows inside of us, it turns into anger or rage, and then we yell. Do you see the pattern? So if we back up to the frustration, well, what happened just before the frustration? We had an expectation. This is psychologically what causes frustration. We have an expectation. That expectation is not being met. Well, what is the expectation? Usually it has to do with our kids behaving differently than they do. We expect them to listen and obey, for example, and then they don't. That causes the frustration. Frustration is built on unmet expectations. And usually those expectations are around something that we have very little control over. As you get better at recognizing the triggers for the yelling, you'll be able to address those triggers more effectively and meet the challenge. Let's get to the second tip. Forgive yourself and move forward. You know what? You're human. And humans experience the kinds of feelings that you've been experiencing. So there you go, being human again. A lot of times we beat ourselves up because we don't like the outcome. You've promised yourself that you're not going to yell at your kids. You didn't want to be that parent. And yet, here we are. There you go, being human again. You know, at some level, this will probably give you more empathy for those parents you've been judging in the past for yelling. I know that I have experienced that myself. And as we lighten up a little bit, be willing to exercise some grace and compassion and forgiveness for ourselves, it actually reduces the amount of emotional tension that we're feeling and makes us less likely to yell again. Feeling guilty is natural when we do something that we know is out of line, like yelling. Having self-compassion and forgiving ourselves is an essential step toward improving that dynamic. If you're already finding this helpful, take a moment to subscribe to this channel where you will find dozens, even hundreds of videos that will help you to become that parent that you promised yourself you'd be. Subscribe. Here's your third tip to meet the no yelling challenge. Choose curiosity over control. Notice that when you yell, you're frustrated, you're trying to control something that you really don't have any control over, and that's what gets you tipped over in the first place. So let's let go of the control for a moment and choose curiosity. Can you generate some curiosity in this moment? Kids are usually doing what they're doing for a lot of great reasons. To them, they don't know all of the wise and experienced reasons that they should obey and listen. Those are going on in your head. You're the parent, you're the adult, and you can come up with 12 reasons why they should listen and obey. Well, in their little child mind, They don't have those same reasons, but there are reasons why they're doing what they're doing. What if you were to get curious about that? Approach it like you're a psychologist, like Dr. Paul here. What if you could just look at it with this curiosity of, I wonder, and that's a great phrase, by the way. Keep that in your tool belt somewhere and pull it out anytime you need to. I wonder. Well, what do you wonder? I wonder why they're doing that. That's a pretty good question. Go ahead and wonder about that. Allow yourself to feel the curiosity. Curiosity beats control every time because it's actually something that gets your brain working more productively. It invites you to think, not fight. And that's one of our mantras in positive parenting. Think, not fight. That's what you want your kids to do. Well, how about we practice that as a parent too? Think, not fight. Be curious, not controlling. Here's the last tip I have for you in this video. Practice connection and empathy. These challenging moments that you're having with your children are actually opportunities for you to connect. And again, not control, connect. We talked before about being curious. What if you could also apply some of your energy, instead of trying to correct or control your child, to connect with your child? When your goal is to connect, you'll be able to let go of some of those feelings that are driving you toward controlling their behavior and instead meet them as fellow human beings on this planet. You've probably noticed by now your kids are not just little carbon copies of mom. They are not mini dad. They are their own person, and they exist as humans who are on this planet with us. They're just arriving a little later than you did. Your relationship with your children is what will be the most powerful factor for them in their development. Beyond anything you can really teach them, it's how they feel when they're in your presence. Develop and nurture that relationship. Look to connect, not control. I mentioned empathy too, and that probably deserves a quick definition. Empathy is understanding and caring how someone else feels. This is where your curiosity will serve you well, because you can usually get there. You can usually get to a point where, oh, I kind of get how you feel. That will help to build your relationship with your child when they experience that empathy from you, that you really do understand and care how they feel. This whole positive parenting task is a challenge, isn't it? Do you feel like you can meet that no yelling challenge a little better now? You don't have to do this alone. We've got you on this. Cue up that next video where you'll get some positive parenting solutions. I'll share with you 5 tips to create a calm and peaceful mindset. Go look at that one next. This is your journey to more positive parenting.